interested in taking your 4 stud axles with 28 splines and making them disappear, I'm here to help you with that today. All right, we're just gonna go through a few steps real simply. So if you haven't done this before, I'm gonna show you a few steps to take this apart. It's really not that difficult. If you're not getting too deep into it, it's not that bad. So we're gonna go over some of that right now. First things first, you're gonna have to take the brakes off from these, and that'll be step number 1, is take the brakes off. So we're gonna do that right now. All right. When you measure these, you measure from right here at the face where your rim bolts to at the end of the axle. And from what I saw, they were 30 inches, but they made me a little concerned that that wasn't right. So I took this all apart, took both axles out and measured them, and they are in fact both 30 inches. So if you need axles for one of those, now you know. You won't have to pull yours out and measure them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the other brake off and disassemble that. You just saw me disassemble this side. So now you know you gotta take everything off from it, and we're gonna do that and get that done. I'm also gonna put in new axle bearings and axle seals into this diff, get everything all nice and fresh in it. Well, we've got it apart. So we'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the next part that we're gonna do and show you where we move to next after we remove the brakes. All right. All right, now for the next step. We're gonna take the diff cover off it, and then we'll move on from there to get the guts out of this thing so we can get these bigger axles in there. Now, 31 spline axles, you're saying that's not that much bigger than a 28 spline. Well, actually it's quite substantial. It's actually 30% stronger than a 28 spline axle. And yeah, I don't have C-clip eliminators on this, but I don't have a roll cage in it anyway right now. And I do have disc brakes, which are somewhat of an axle retention if it does break, and we are going to 31s instead of 28s. So hey, that's an improvement at least. Let's get this off. So we're gonna turn the diff, and if you didn't put it neutral like I didn't do right now, you can't turn it. 1 second again. Let's put it neutral so we can actually turn the diff. Pull up here. There, that easy. All right. Now we can turn it. And here's what we're looking for right here. We're looking for that set screw right there, whatever you want to call it. You have to pull that out, and once that bolt is out of there, then you can take out your cross pin, and we'll go from there. So we're going to take this bolt out, and I believe that's a 5/16. Do yourself a favor, use a 6-sided wrench so you don't strip it. Just like that. I've seen many people not use a 6-sided, use a 12-sided, strip these things out. That's been one of my nightmares, is breaking one of these off or stripping them out where I can't get them out of there. Yeah, it's a fear when you're doing this. It is. All right. Come on out of there, you bugger. Okay, there it is. That's what it looks like. And that goes through that cross pin, and that holds that cross pin from going in and out. Keeps it in place. And when you put this back in, you should clean it and put a dab of blue on there. Blue Loctite. All right, now we can turn it. And pull the cross pin out. And there it is. There's our friend the cross pin. And that's where that bolt goes through there and holds it in place. You want to make sure this is good, it's not rough, there's no grooves in it. If it is, replace it. All right, and now we turn it until we find the open place here. Now when you find this, you want to shove your axle in. Can you see that? That cross pin, it holds these axles out so the axles cannot go in to remove the C-clip to remove the axle. So you push the axle in now that that stuff's out of the way. And I'm going to try and spin this to a place I can get it removed. There it comes. And that is what is the retention of the axle, is the C-clip. This is the reason that they have axle retention, because if the axle breaks anything beyond the end of this, that axle is coming out of there. But we do have disc brakes, so it's not going to just straight come out, unlike if I just had drum brakes. So we're going to take both of these out, and the axles should then come out at this point. And now this axle, it should come out of here, just like that. And there it is, our stock 31 spline axle. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but can see the size difference in these, but it's pretty significant. Beyond that, the C-clip is a little beefier on the end of this one, and it's a stronger material. Go ahead and do it. You'll be safer, you'll be happier, you won't have to think about broken axles as much. All right, I'm gonna pull that other axle, and then we're gonna take the carrier out. 1 second. All right, now we're gonna take the main caps off of this. I prefer to keep them in order and put them back where they were. And I'll show you real quick. We're just gonna zip these off with this guy. And I like to keep them on their specific side where they were. So that'll be the right. And this is going to be the left. And one thing I like to note is these have an arrow, and that arrow should point to the outside. So notice that. Don't know why, but that's what they do, so I just go ahead and do it. All right, now that that is out, there's actually nothing really holding it other than the bearings. And at each end of the bearing right here, it has a spacer, and that spacer adjusts your backlash. Nothing you have to worry about right now, but sometimes you might need a little persuasion. And maybe I will get a pry bar real quick to help that out. Pry bar. Alright, how about this guy? Should have had this down there with me, huh? buddy. There it is, home free. And you should keep all these parts, if you're putting it back together, where it was. Keep them on the ends they were, your spacers where they were. Then you won't have to measure anything, and it should just go back together. All right, this stuff was on the right end. This stuff was on the left end. And there it is. Let's pull this stuff out. All right. There's our offending, or not offending, at least it's a traction lock. At least it's a dual wheel peel. And it worked great. It's just time to put some beefier in there. Now I took this one apart and I tried to see if I could fit all the side gears, spider gears, whatever you want to call them, from the 31 into here. And I don't know, it just didn't want to fit. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to use the proper 31 spline. That particular one I have, it came in Crown Vics, I think pickups, the 2003 and 4 Mustang Cobra. So they're supposed to be a little bit beefier than this one. So, but I'm going to pull the gear off it, and that's going to be going on the other one. So, next part, let's move on and get this baby out of here. Get the next part prepped so she can go in there, and we can get rocking. All right. So you say, how am I going to drill these 4-bolt rotors to fit our new 5-bolt axles? So I don't know if it's going to work, but here's what I'm going to do. I stole the brake drum off from the 66, and I took that and I bolted it up and centered it in the center ring. And I'm going to flip it over, center punch it, and drill it, and cross our fingers, see if it works. Theory is, maybe the $100 for new rotors that are made for 5-bolt. We're going to give this a shot. All right, let's see how it works by the magic of media. Okay guys, so my crazy idea actually worked. It looks like I'm not gonna have to buy rotors for this thing. That's awesome. So what I did is exactly what I was trying to describe earlier, which I didn't give very much detail, but here's what I did. So I just took my Fairlane drum and I lined it up so I could put 1 3/8 bolt in it. I lined up that bolt. I centered it in the hub right here, and then I tightened that baby down. And then I turned it over. And then I center punched these holes. And I simply drilled them out. And it fits. The thing is, the center hub here is actually what's going to center it. It's not these bolt holes. These bolt holes in here, down here, are going to be a little bit larger than what the studs are. That's not what centers it. This hub here in the center of the axle should fit tight, and that's what centers it. So right here I have one that's already drilled, and you can see it's just perfect. It doesn't go up and down or anything. It goes in and out, but doesn't go up and down. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. That's awesome. I don't have to buy new rotors. That's cool. So that is gonna solve that part of it. We're gonna keep plugging away and getting stuff done on this. Seal that just might be me coming back later and getting these out with the proper tool for this. I just thought I'd give it a try with this one. All right, so I borrowed the proper tool. I've got it right here. It's got the proper end on the slide hammer. Thank you, Christian, for letting me just borrow this tool from you. I was not having a good time with mine, so let's get this thing done here. Get this last bearing pulled, and we'll go from there. There it is. And there's the last bearing. So I've got the bearings out of this rear diff. I've got the seals out of it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this all cleaned up. I won't waste your time with showing you what to do there because it's pretty self-explanatory how to clean up. You can put some cleaner and run it through your tubes. Run a stick with some rags in it and get it all cleaned out, make everything nice and clean. And I'm gonna get back and we're gonna start assembling this rear end, and we're gonna get these 31 splines in here and make this baby beefier. All right, people, we're gonna put new bearings and seals in this. I've already done the other side, so only have this side left. And what I'm using today is I'm using my cam bearing installer, and that actually worked pretty good to install the bearing part of it. And then, yeah, I actually used it for the seal also, worked good for that. So I'm just using that rather than using a driver, because this is a driver in a way. So we're gonna get this other bearing installed and keep moving on here. All right. And my juniors are out there playing around right now, so you'll hear them messing around. All right, that's in there. We're gonna get this driven in. Oh yeah, that looks good. So, I'll give you a little preview here. You can see there's a little step right there, and your bearing in this particular axle should be just past that step all the way around, and it looks great, nice and centered. Should be good there. Let's drive that seal in. Got it? Oh yeah. Here's our seal. Right there. And I prefer to put a little bit of RTV on that baby, on the outside of it, for extra sealing. A little dab will do ya. There it is. Nothing to it. All right, I'm trying to move through this as fast as I can, and in the process of what I'm doing, I appreciate your guys' time, and I value that, and I know you do too, so I'm not trying to waste any time of yours, but I want to be helpful, and I hope to encourage you guys to get your project moving. Have some fun with that baby. All right, let's keep going here. Hey, so I'm gonna add a quick note just in case no one's ever realized this or thought of this or been told. When you got a new seal in here, or you're replacing, you've dried all this stuff up, make sure you lube this up a little bit so you're not running that brand new seal dry and burn it out. At least you eliminate the chance of that. Have that thing lubricated. So, there you go, remember that. All right, I am getting the backlash set on this thing again, getting everything in good nick on it. So if you haven't done this before, I'm just gonna tell you very simply what I did and kind of how it works. So, all right, on each one of these bearing ends, you have shims.
And you can buy aftermarket shims, and I have some right here because I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed. These are stock shims right here. They go on the ends of the bearings to set your backlash and to set your bearing clearance on there to make sure that's all tight, because you can't have none of that business loose. And here is what aftermarket set looks like, and it's adjustable, and they have a bunch of different sizes and stuff. So right now I have landed in a happy place. It looks like about 9 thousandths backlash in it. So I've got it set up with the dial indicator right here, and then I can just move it back and forth and check it. So I'm going to show you real quick what it says. So backlash is just going to be the distance between your ring gear and your pinion. All right, let's see if we can get a view on this possibly. There. Maybe. Sorry. There. Maybe you can read that. So we're at about 9,000. I'm happy with that. It took a little bit of playing around and testing different shims and etc. But we are ready to keep assembling this baby and keep it moving on. We're gonna make this much better. All right, I will be back in a sec. All right, man, we're pretty much finished up with this baby. It not only is gonna look better, we know everything is a little beefier and stronger. I'm just gonna tighten up this stud girdle and then we can send it. So these are usually 10 to 15 foot-pounds. Put some RTV, some sealant on these. Preload these to 10 to 15. And then tighten your lock nut to 25 to 35. So we got everything right here. We'll get it taken care of. All right, and I've already got my torque wrench set. Don't feel like much, but you don't want to distort the caps. So it's just a small amount. There's that. And then, yep, hey Ryan, just wait, buddy. Let me get this finished first, okay? Now I'm gonna set these. And we will be all set. I'll give you a little preview of what it looks like in just a second. Let me just crank these down. Let's see here. There it is. Don't feel like much, but that's all it needs right there. I know, it drives people nuts when I double click it, triple click it, whatever. I just like to. All right, check that out. I'm gonna give you a view of the end of the axles and we'll move on. All right, that's from the back. Even looks good, huh? And there it is. And now the Trac can know I have aftermarket axles that are beefier. So at least this part, I believe, is good to 11.0, I believe. I'm legal to now, for this part anyway. So there's that. Man, this feels so good to have this put together. One more big thing accomplished. 5-bolt, beefier axles. We can get our better rims and tires on this thing and be one step forward. All right, until next time, keep racing, keep wrenching, keep having fun with your hot rods. Later. Uriah, hey, say goodbye, Uriah. Bye.